Hey everybody, Scout Crafty here again. It's midweek mosh, more or less. It's Wednesday today. Had to get a haircut today. Actually, another self haircut job. I'm not getting any better at it, but at least it's not getting worse. That's the good part. Quick things to talk about today. I try and walk every night for about an hour, and I was down the park. I have a nice park from that's about a block away, down the block from me, and I grew up in that park. It's a beautiful park. It's a waterfront park, and this park has traditionally, when we used to go there as kids, it had all trees, and we used to climb the trees and whatnot. But there was one tree we used to call the initial tree. And this tree must be about 100 years old, and it's just a beautiful tree. It's a beech tree and has a thin bark to it, and was perfect for carving your initials. Now, back in the 70s, we all had pocket knives, and carving your name in the tree was kind of or the park bench, more or whatever. That's what kids did, because you had a pocket knife and you were mischievous. Today, nobody carries a pocket knife anymore, so the tree is kind of healing up, and it doesn't do any real damage to the tree, but, you used to see initials. I saw initials back in there from the 50s, the 40s, things like that when I was a kid. And I was just looking at some of the initials that are still there now. I saw one from 94. So as far back as 1994, they were still carving their name in. But pretty interesting how, things we used to do. But when I was walking by the waterfront, there used to be a fence that surrounded the waterfront. And the fence was kind of messed up because it was old and things like that. So they put in a brand new fence, and a nice fence. It's like a stainless steel fence, but it's a real nice looking fence. And I was happy. I said, wow, this is a nice looking fence. But then I looked at the park bench that they replaced, the old park benches. Now, I used to work for the Parks Department, and parks always took pride in their park benches, thus the name of park bench. They were just beautiful examples of benches, and they were comfortable, they were wood, they were slatted, Look at this monstrosity that they've replaced the park benches with. I mean, whoever thought of this? This is the ultimate in horrible design. Cold concrete, and it's a perfect billboard for graffiti. I was really disappointed with that, and I'm sure, you probably feel the same way. I'm often curious to who actually approved that monstrosity of a bench. I mean, who thought that was a good idea? Because I certainly think that's the ugliest thing I've ever seen in the park. Next up, this weekend, I went to Elephant's Trunk again. And it was funny because I met I met a good friend of the show by the name of Noah Levy. I've seen him in a couple shows. He follows the channel, and he's a big tool collector. He's a young man, 16, 17 maybe, but he has a great taste for tools, and he has quite a collection of tools. And Noah got there early, so he got most of the good stuff, and I'll show you a picture of what he got. He picked this up. He got some nice Klein pliers, Defiance, utility knife, and, all good stuff. But it's a 4-hour drive for him, so I'm sure his parents were exhausted by the time they got home because, between walking and driving. But it was a good trip. He had a good time, picked up some good stuff. I was there. I just filmed a few things while we were there, and I picked up some things. I'll show you just a couple things, not so much tool related, so let's go see what we have here.
Yeah, you got it. Well, yeah, once it costs twice as much, you get a ticket by the mail, or by the mail, 225.
I love this tractor. Look at the graphics, the colors. Can you imagine if you gave this to a young man today as a gift?
Yeah, we've got all its doors.
Can I help you, sir?
It's that barber shop.
What are you going to do? This is what it is.
So what are you getting for a little test tube rack? He's old. He's old. He's old.
Did you catch it? You see that PC7 display? A little bit worn from weather, but it was there.
Hi, Bob. How are you? Here.
This is a copper reproduction diving helmet, but can you imagine if this was all polished up, how nice it would look?
1903.
They have another, I think they have another Dr. Seuss on the other table.
I've been looking for one of these for years, but they're always expensive. This one here was 60 bucks, but I don't know why I like them so much, but I do.
What was that crock here? Fire crock?
I thought this wagon was just so cool. Look at the design on this wagon. And you know what's really amazing? If you look, it even has a trunk and a brake. How many wagons have you seen with a brake and a trunk to it?
This actually is gone already, sorry. Yeah, you just missed it by 15 minutes.
How much was it? Can we ask?
It was 60 bucks that I sold it.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, you would have gave me more.
Years ago, these toy rifles were pretty detailed. Look, these rifles even had engraving in the plastic. This is an example of a real diamond in the rough. This is a Starrett vise, and you know, they go for a lot of money, but look at this one here. Look at the jaws are in really good shape, and if you look close, you could see the anvil and the steel or cast slide is in perfect condition. So this will clean up marvelously. $200, it was a steal. I only picked up 3 things at the show. I was just there for walking around and having fun. This one here, this was a, you see, that was an M, home barber kit. And it's missing the scissors and the comb, but it is a it's one of these hand clippers. Remember these? These, you know, I have another pair of these around, but you put it like this and you squeeze a hand clipper. And this one's nice because you could see here. Can you see that? It says it's made in Germany. Yeah, Soligen steel, made in Germany. So this is a good quality one. And I paid $5 for this because I just, you know, these do come in handy. You know, sometimes you got, especially if you got to do any kind of work on one of your animals or something like that, and they get scared with the electric clippers, you can, you know, if they get a cut or something, you could take off the hair and address the situation. So that's the first thing I bought, and then I picked this up. Look at this, huh? I don't know how Noah didn't see this one, so I'm glad he didn't, because it's actually the only tool I bought, more or less. And this is a Stanley vise. You can see here. I've done this before on the channel, but this one's in nice shape, right? I mean, obviously it's rusty, but it's got all the components. There's nothing bent, and it's got the original paint on there. But this will be a nice restoration. We'll be doing this very shortly. And last up, which I wanted to address today, for $2, I paid $10 for the vise, by the way, and for $2, I got this this Delta Wildcat lantern. I always liked old lanterns, and I thought these were dents. They weren't. That's the way it's made. But it's in fairly good shape. It's got the reflector, and if you look, it's got some nice writing around here. We'll address it. I'm going to clean it up a little bit and talk a little bit about the lantern. And there's nothing missing. I know you think, where's the globe that went over? Where's the glass that went over? This is the way they made this lantern, and just cool. I want it as a wall hanger, so we're going to work on this. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we have to look at the condition here. This is there's a little bend up here. This has to be bent down a little bit. And you got to be careful with here because, you know, you start twisting things and bend, you can weaken it. So you got to be careful on how you re-bend something and take it easy because you don't want to put waves in this, you know. So we got to address this here. It's a little trickier than it looks. And then inside the lantern, you can see this, I guess it was 4D batteries. And what's interesting here, if you look at the writing here, it says on the top, let me get a light so you can see. Okay, see on the two tops, it says zinc end. And on the bottom here, it says brass cap end. I don't know, did batteries back in the 40s, I guess this was made in about the 40s, did they have a brass top and a zinc top? You know, like were they two different metals? Because that's interesting that it would say zinc end and brass end, you know, instead of positive and negative, isn't it? So I have to see what that is. And you can see it takes 4 batteries. I think it's D batteries. They look about that size. And it's in pretty good shape. I don't even know if the bulbs, we'll have to test out the bulbs and see if we can get this working. But let's start straightening it out and clean up the outside. Got a little bit of tarnish, not too much rusting. A little bit of rusting, but we'll clean it. Now, whenever you have sheet metal that needs to be bent or something, you know, don't use a hammer or anything. It's your best friend is a simple adjustable wrench. And if you have to bend something like this, you know, you make an adjustment here, just tighten up the adjustable here and just tweak it up a little bit. Nice and easy. And if you have to get the edge, like if this edge is bent in, close up the jaws a little bit on the adjustable and then bend it out like this and just work it nice and slow. Keep holding it back. And look, you see you got a little bit bend up here. It's got to bend up and just tweak it slowly like this. Keep looking at it until you get this all level. You see we have a little bend over here that we got to get to. You look at the legs and things like that. And you do this all before you get to the wire brush. And again, don't be afraid to just give it a small tweak using the your adjustable wrench, because that's a perfect tool for this. But we're just going to get it straight so that when it sits down, it doesn't wobble and things like that. So we'll go around the whole bottom and try and get as flat as possible. You know, everybody always asks me, how come you keep all them spare pieces of wood? You know, you should just throw them away. But here's an example. I just took this piece of wood. I got to paint this. You know, this I took the paint off. Now it's got to be red again. And here's what you do. You know, you take this on like this. You push this on the back here like that. And now you have a way, there we go, to hold this handle as you paint it, and also a way to hold it when it's drying. So always save those old pieces of wood. It really comes in handy for scraps. Now you know my favorite part. Remember what this lantern looked like before we started. And we're calling this project done. I have to tell you, this has to be up there, one of my favorite restorations. I mean, this thing came out awesome, and I'm so happy with it, and it works. But let me tell you a little bit about the lantern first. I'll show you how it works here. You see there's the bottom light. You can see it's lit up here, the bottom light, and if you flip the switch the other way, you can see the light lights up there. So it works. It's beautiful. Let me show you a few things about this cool lamp. Okay, I did the top handle in a candy red, you know, because it really just stands out. It looks beautiful, doesn't it? And it was bent, but I folded, you know, I reprofiled it so it works the way it should. There's little detents in there that hold it up, and it wasn't working before, but it is now. And you can see here what it says. Let me adjust the light so you can see. Okay, now the top of the lantern says Delta Wildcat electric lantern. You can see to open, you press down, you turn left and pull up. It uses 2 or 4 standard 1 1/4 inch flashlight cells. That's what they used to call D batteries years ago, flashlight cells. And it uses 2.5 volt bulbs. And it has, it says a double acting switch. It's made in Marion, Indiana by the Delta Electric Company. Very interesting. The front of the lantern, this is what has me intrigued, because if you look over here, it says Delta Chrome reflector. And if you look here, it says tarnish proof. And over here, and this is important because this here says absolutely durable, clean with cloth. And you see that? Now, this is, I think, one of the early chrome plating, and that's why they were... Chrome plating was expensive. It was a big thing back then, and back in the 40s, and it came all over the cars in the 50s and whatnot. They were using, remember, a lot of nickel. Nickel wasn't as durable, but this was, they went the extra mile on here, and I just think this is such a beautiful little lantern. There we have it, our little $2 Delta lantern. Took the finish off, but polished it up. I didn't do a mirror finish, but it's just a satin finish. It looks real nice. No fingerprints really show. Love this little lantern. So in closing, I hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks very much for tuning in. Take care now. Bye-bye.